Well, in Australia, sharks are rarely out of the headlines. Already this year, there have been a number of attacks in Australian waters, most along our western coast.
But here's a question we rarely ask. Are we most at risk, or are the sharks? Michael Brown is from Surfwatch Australia. Good morning to you, Michael.
Morning.
Do we need protecting from sharks, or do the sharks need protecting from us?
Well, I think the simple answer is yes. And, I mean, if we look at both sides of the coin, I mean, every year there are probably 40 or 50 million sharks which are killed by commercial fishing, etc.
How many?
40 or 50 million of them, and
Globally,
that's worldwide.
Like they get scooped up in nets.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So the actual shark population each year is decreasing, but what we are seeing is we're probably seeing more sharks coming in close to shore. So I mean, they're following bait fish, and just like anyone who's looking for a feed, they'll follow the food.
Sorry, just to interrupt you, is that a sign of the health of our waters, that there are more fish and therefore more sharks around?
No, I think it's actually got to do with cycles. I mean, everything in nature sort of runs through various cycles. Over the last 10 years, we've seen exceptionally good conditions. We've got a lot of nutrient in the water, and that's seen the numbers and the sizes of bait fish schools increasing. Now, I mean, obviously with the surf breaks and coming in close to shore, that's where all the food's being dredged up. Bait fish are coming in close to feed on that, and look, the sharks are simply following them in.
So, we have more sharks closer to our shores and our swimming beaches. Do shark nets do the trick?
Oh, look, I think shark nets are probably one of the biggest wastes of time we've ever come up with. Look, if you look at the actual statistics of it, for example, in the 10 years before the shark nets went in, we had 19 shark attacks on New South Wales beaches alone. In the 10 years after the shark nets went in, we had 46 attacks on New South Wales beaches. So I think the shark nets went in as a knee-jerk reaction. In 1934, there was a huge spike in shark attacks. Well, I think we had 7 in 1 year. The government convened the Shark Menace Advisory Committee to try and deal with the public hysteria that went along with it. And one of the recommendations they made was to put the shark nets in. So I think since that time, I don't think there's any statistical proof to say that shark nets are a real benefit. Right. Most sharks are caught on the inside. The shark nets don't go from top to bottom. And I think that we all realise that if you get a stingray or something caught in the nets and it starts to decompose, I think that simply just draws more sharks in. It's like burling up when you go fishing.
Yeah, right.
So what's the best way to protect people who want to swim in the ocean and protect sharks?
Okay. Well, I think there are quite a few different things we can do, but I think the most practical step we can take to try and minimise shark attacks is to look at previous shark attacks. Now, the one thing that just about every shark attack has in common is the fact that they've taken place in and amongst bait fish or feeding. So, I mean, if you look at a shark, say like a great white, for example, that may only feed every 2 weeks. So you can go out to Bondi Beach this afternoon, swim around, probably sharks in the area. But if you go out to Bondi Beach this afternoon and there are 100,000 bait fish under your feet, those sharks are actually coming in to feed, and you're in between a shark and its dinner. That's when things are going to start coming unstuck for you. So I think for all the money we're throwing at shark nets and for all the debate, pros and cons, I think if we were to set up, for example, a dedicated radio frequency so all light aircraft pilots could report sightings of bait fish movements, right, then what we can do is we can actually compile an accurate database of where the bait fish are, where they're moving. And just to give you an example, say we had 100,000 bait fish off Mona Vale Beach at 10 o'clock this morning. You know, we could see that those bait fish were moving south. Then what we could do is we could put out a situation report which was available to every beach and council on New South Wales beaches, so that, say, for example, Manly Beach could see, okay, this morning there's no bait fish, but come 4 o'clock this afternoon we're going to have 100,000 bait fish.
And what would you then do? Would you have someone tracking those bait fish to see if there are sharks attached, or would you just be clearing beaches when the bait fish are?
No, I don't think we can just go out and clear beaches, but I think that every single surf club has the right to have that information, just like we want to give them the best jet skis and training, etc.
It's amazing they don't do this sort of stuff already, monitor bait fish.
Well, you think it's amazing. I think it's unbelievable. It's probably one of the simplest and most practical ways of protecting swimmers. If there are no bait fish, then there are probably no sharks that are coming in to feed. And as I say, surf clubs can use that information to try and work out how to best to deal with it. But even if it didn't prevent an attack, if the surf club knew that there were going to be 100,000 bait fish and the risk of a shark attack was going to jump that afternoon, if they could respond to an attack 30 seconds faster, that in itself could be the difference between life and death. So, I think for all the hype and hysteria, I think taking a practical, pragmatic approach to protecting swimmers is important. We all need to try and provide the best protection possible, but look, slaughtering thousands of innocent dolphins and dugongs and other animals each year to try and pacify a government agenda, I think is ridiculous at best.
Sure. All right, Michael, thank you very much. It's, well, if you pardon the analogy, food for thought. Thank you very much.